Okay, Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon. Okay, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about part two. Okay, part two of the our lecture. Okay, on consumer journey to the world of technology. Part two. Last week we already talked about part one. So um, part one. Okay, part one of the lecture last week. We only talk about the behavior side, which is um, the complaints, yeah, the complaints and what caused people to complain, and how to reduce um, grievance, meaning how to soothe things up. For example, like if people not satisfied with your product, people not satisfied with your service, how do you receive the complaint? How do you pick up, or how do you differentiate between genuine and non-genuine complaints? Okay, and then we also talk on how to take up those complaints, how to handle those complaints. Okay, that's part one. Today part two. Okay, we were talking more on the technology. Okay, on how technology will um, influence the behavior of the consumer, and how marketer can adopt and adapt to this technology to our advantage. Right. So you can see the slide in your VLE, virtual learning environment. You can see the consumer journey to the world of technology part two. Okay, you just can click that link and it goes to the slide that I'm going to talk about today. Okay, semua dah dapat tak the slide?
Dapat sir.
Okay, cool. Okay. Um, okay, now can I start? Right? Can I start? Yeah. So now, companies invest in intangible asset, okay, such as database to handle big data. So, big data or database, okay, is what we call intangible asset. Okay, something which can be moved. Okay, can be moved. Big data. Okay, big data. So, what is big data? Okay, what is big data? And what is artificial intelligence? Okay, artificial intelligence. Um, Artificial intelligence is about machine learning, meaning machine that can learn. Machine can learn on its own, just like human. As a child, we learn, okay, from our experience, and to when we go to school, we learn, and then we get information from various sources, like from the media, for example. Then we learn, and then we do some activities. Then we experience that we got from that activities. Then we learn from the experience. So all that we learn, okay, we learn from formally and informal learning. So for AI, artificial intelligence is a machine, but a machine that can learn, means it able to learn from data um, without being programmed. For example, like this laptop, for example. Okay, it needs to be instructed. For example, like if I wanted to browse my one of my let's say I want to browse through the internet, for example. So I need to put in the command, okay, telling this laptop that I wanted to browse the internet. So it needs me to give the instruction, then can it only perform its function. Then if I wanted to go to the Teams, then I need to give a command, meaning I need to click something, okay, to go to this Microsoft Team. But for machine learning, okay, machine learning, this machine will know that from experience that at 12 o'clock every Thursday, 12 o'clock, I have this class, consumer behavior class with you. So if for artificial intelligence, for every Thursday, 12 o'clock, he will, or that machine will straight away log into Microsoft Teams for this class. Okay, so meaning it has learned from previous data, from previous activities. So this is machine learning or artificial intelligence. Okay, so this I think you have seen a lot of movies out there about robots or machine that can learn on its own. For example, like iRobots, for example. The most recent one is Terminators. Okay, Terminators has been around for so many years. Okay, the movie about Terminators is although you see the robots, right? You see the Terminators and all that, but behind that robots, we have this system which can learn on its own, which can think on its own. Why? That's why this machine think that human are threats to the world, so they make the decision to destroy all the humanity. So that is a form of AI, artificial intelligence. Means that the machine is doing their own thinking without being programmed. Okay, these are one of the example of machine learning or artificial intelligence. Okay, then you have 85% of brand experience will not involve human interventions. Okay, according to Centric Digital in 2015, 85% of brand experience will not involve human interventions. So what is this brand experience? How do you experience brand? Okay, how do you experience brand? How do you, what are the ways that you can experience the brand? You can have the brand experience how? With your what? With your communication, with your interaction with the brand. How do you interact with the brand? How? When you use the product, correct? When you comment, comment in the brand's social media, for example, then that's you have a brand experience. Or you have problems, you got complaints, then you, for example, like you complains to the support service, for example, and that is how you have the brand experience. So according to Centric Digital in 2015, 85% of brand experience will not involve human interventions. Okay, so now the question is, how do we create consumer experience without human interactions? How do you think? Because according to the study, or according to this prediction, say that 85% of brand experience will not involve human interaction. So how do you create consumer experience without human interactions? Anyone? Maybe from your own experience.
Macam mana, sir?
How do you create consumer experience without human interaction? Sebelum ni, for example, kalau awak pergi ke kedai, for example, awak pergi ke pasar raya, awak nak minta barang, tak tahu kat barang tu kat mana, dekat lokasi barang tu dalam kedai tu kat mana, awak tanya orang perkedai tu kat mana letaknya barang ni. Okay, so dia akan tunjukkan awak, oh dia ada di shelf nombor 3 di belakang sana. Then you go and get the goods or the product. But then now you do not have human interaction. How do you create consumer experience without human interaction? Macam mana?
Kalau buat live chat sih.
Live chat tu mesti ada orang juga. So you still talking to human.
Maybe boleh implement AI ke bot yang dah specify untuk certain soalan.
Bots. Okay, bots. What kind of bots? Apa kita panggil tu bots tu? Especially I think you meant when you make a complaint or you call customer service online, for example.
Lebih
Hmm.
kurang.
So mula-mula awak cakap dengan siapa dulu? For example, awak call bank. Mula-mula awak cakap dengan siapa?
Mesti dengan yang operator tu je, yang dah
Customer
memang
service ke?
Kadang-kadang awak tak cakap dengan customer service pun, awak cakap dengan
operator.
mesin, right? Dengan mesin.
Oh, dengan mesin. Yep.
Um, Mula-mula suruh pilih bahasa. One for English, two for bahasa. So awak pergi tekan 2 bahasa ataupun English. Okay. And then selepas tu tanya pula problem apa? Awak nak cakap tentang credit card ke? Awak nak cakap tentang bank ke? Ataupun nak cakap dengan operator ataupun customer service. Tekan nombor berapa. Dan katalah awak nak cakap dengan customer service, awak tekan nombor 3. Alright, baru lepas tu awak cakap dengan a human being. So this is what we call chatbots. Okay, maksudnya ada benda-benda yang kadang-kadang awak cakap dengan robot dulu, awak cakap dengan mesin dulu. You don't talk to human, especially for customer service. Benda-benda yang boleh dijawab ataupun FAQ for example, definitely you will talk to robots, you talk to machine. Sebab tengah-tengah malam, okay, mungkin tak ada tak ada customer service malam, tapi they still open. So for questions yang melibatkan FAQ, okay, frequently asked question, will be answered by robots. But if this not is something which is extraordinary, then only they will transfer you to human being to entertain you, okay, to talk to you. So those are one of the things that you do. You give this consumer experience without human interactions. Later on, we're going to see what are the ways. Okay, what are the ways that you can give consumer experience without human interaction. Okay, by using machine and using technology later on in this lecture. Now AI. Okay, AI, it helps in predictions. Okay, for now we're using artificial intelligence to do prediction. For example, you wanted to predict the consumer behavior, for example. You wanted to predict whether the consumer will buy your product or not. You wanted to predict whether the consumer like your product or not. Or you wanted to predict that the consumer like your advertisement. So you use AI. Okay, so for example, this MI deep learning, okay, AI algorithm, it can predict future human interaction after two people meet 60.5% as accurate as human subject. Meaning just using this, for example, it can predict human behavior up to 60.5% accuracy. Okay, so they have come to that stage right now. I think now this year it may be more accurate. And following on this, from this, and after watching 5,000 hours of TV, Google DeepMind AI was able to lip read 34% more accurately than a professional lip reader. Okay, talking about this, lip reading, facial recognition. Okay, right now, we already have software, okay, software to look at the human or to look at the facial expression. Okay, there is an experiment done. They do this experiment to pigs, okay, babi or khinzir. This experiment, they just put in the camera which have this software to look at the facial expression of pigs. Dia nak tahu babi ni gembira ke, sedih ke, ataupun tengah berduka cita and all that. Why? Because babi yang gembira boleh menghasilkan daging yang better, daging yang lebih sedap based on their theory. Okay, so there are software, yang look at the expression of pigs, and they also have enhanced, they also enhance this software to look at the facial expression of human. For example, like if they put in this camera, which equipped with this software, they can look at the facial expression when consumer look at certain brand. Okay, whether they have this good feeling, whether they are frown, meaning if they tak suka. Okay, all that this software can accurately say that what is your current feeling, okay, when you look at certain goods or brand. So why is this important? Because it can accurately, or it can helps marketers to predict whether consumer like a certain product or not. Meaning to say, are they like what they see? Okay, are they like what they saw? Meaning, for example, let's say you come up with a certain advertisement. Okay, certain advertisement. You do not know whether consumer receive that advertisement well. You do not know whether the consumer like that advertisement. So with this software, it enables the marketer to look at the reaction, the response of the consumer when they look at certain product, when they look at certain advertisement. So it can give some prediction, it can give some indication to the marketer what went wrong or what went right. Okay, then should we go on with the advertisement or not, or we should stop, or should we tweak the advertisement to certain ways? So these are the things that helps marketers to predict. So AI, artificial intelligence, can do this. Meaning, previously, how can we know customers' response to certain product by using service? Okay, by using service. But sometimes I did my service myself, and sometimes when I saw the response, sometimes it's too good to be true. Sometimes I know that this person or the respondent um, may not be truthful. Okay, may not be honest. Okay, they just answer the question just to get rid of you. Okay, um, so they're not being honest. So the dishonest answer will produce inaccurate data. Okay, then it will impact on your decision. Why? Because your decision was made based on the service. So if you have an AI which can look at the facial expression of human, so it can the accuracy of your data, the accuracy of your prediction is better. So when you have more accurate data, you can give a better decision. You can make better decision, a marketing decision, and all that. Okay, so this is AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, these if you go to the next slide, these are the many examples where AI been used. For example, in estimating the deforestation, okay, in Latin America, to look at deforestation activities. Okay, this is one of the example that AI been used right now. Okay, and then if you go to the next slide, okay, we're talking about business decision. Okay, making the business decision. For example, like pricing. Okay, pricing. This is not much on Grab. Because Grab, the pricing is quite very certain. Okay, for example, like But then you can see if you're using Grab, for example, in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, and a different time, right? You can see different pricing. Why? For example, let's say from my house in Ampang to Yayasan Selangor, for example. If I use Grab in the morning, okay, the price might be a little bit higher compared to if I wanted to use Grab from my house to Yayasan Selangor in, let's say, for example, like 11 o'clock, for example, or at 3 o'clock, for example. The price may be a bit lower. But during peak hours, the price for Grab a bit higher. Why? How do you set this pricing? Why Grab pricing sometimes low, sometimes high for the same destination? Kenapa? Soalan. Siapa boleh jawab? Soalan dia ialah kenapa bila awak guna Grab untuk pergi ke destinasi yang sama tapi pada waktu berbeza, awak akan mendapat harga yang berbeza. Kenapa?
They know that the demand for the peak hours are definitely high for the current time, and then therefore they set the price too high, even though the price too high, and the users know that if the is macam mana? Dia bila dia tahu harga tu tinggi tapi berbaloi.
Bila peak hour harga tinggi.
Aha.
Kalau bukan peak hour harga rendah. Correct?
Sebab demand dia kurang.
This is what AI, okay, meaning the system using the algorithm make the decision that, or after getting all about the traffic, maybe from Google Maps, maybe from Waze, maybe from other software, they can look at the traffic condition, whether it is there's a lot of traffic at that particular hours, whether there's congestion. So if there is a congestion, okay, then the price should be higher. Okay, the algorithm will make a decision that, okay, I wanted to go from my house from Ampang to Yayasan Selangor at 9 o'clock. Okay, it is during peak hour. Why? Because everybody is rushing to the office at that point of time. Okay, so it's a peak hours. So of course you need to pay more. Correct? Compared to if I wanted to go to Yayasan Selangor at 10 o'clock or 10:30, whereby dah habis peak hour, semua orang dah sampai pejabat, saya baru nak pergi. Saya seorang-seorang pun nak pergi. So keadaan trafik agak kurang congested. Okay, there's no congestion at 10:30. So the price will be lower. Okay, because the demand is lower. So here it shows that this algorithm, okay, or this what do you call this, AI, okay, the machine able to think by themselves by looking at all data and make the decision that 9 o'clock price is higher. This is the price. If 10:30 or 11, this is the price. Okay, so the machine is making decision on its own. For example, in 2017, for example, okay, 2017 in London, there's a terror attack in London in 2017. So, as you know, when there's a terror attack, there will be a congestion, a panic, right? Panic. Everyone is, for example, everyone is going out. Dia nak keluar daripada London. So when they wanted to keluar from London, the traffic is congested. So it forms some sort like a similar situation macam orang nak pergi ke pejabat. So during that time, to use Uber, the price goes up. Okay, the price goes up. Why? Because the algorithm, they do not know whether they do not know that there is a terror attack. Apa yang dia tahu ialah based on dia punya data, masa tu traffic congested. Kereta banyak dekat jalan raya. So dia naikkan harga. So this is something which involve ethical business practice. Maksudnya kenapa kita nak naikkan harga bila orang tengah susah? Maksudnya orang dah masa tengah susah tu orang nak gunakan kenderaan, tapi masa tu Uber naikkan harga. But the price hike not because Uber tu sengaja nak naikkan, tapi the price hike because the algorithm just look at the data of the amount of traffic on the road at the point of time, and that's it. They make decision just based on that. Dia tak ambil consideration tentang terror attack at that point of time. So the question is, these are the problem. Okay, if you look at the next slide, the question is the repercussion of letting the AI doing both the analysis and decision. Okay, maksudnya bila as a marketer, we let the artificial intelligence to do the analysis and the decision for us. And that's where you meet with the problem. Here, what I'm trying to say is, it's good to have AI. It's good to have the machine that think for us, make the data analysis for us. But the decision, the decision is always goes to you. You need to make decision based on the data crunched by the machine. But the problem here, we always let the machine doing both the analysis and the decision for us. And that's the problem. Okay, that's where you got a lot of problem. Do you agree?
Definitely, sir.
Do you have any experience when you let the machine make the decision?
No.
Got into trouble.
Macam ada auto payment sih, kadang-kadang is a bit troubling for us to do the payment. Somehow they
Maksudnya standing order, okay? Kenapa? Tiba-tiba duit tak ada, tapi dia nak bayar juga. Is it? That is problem juga, duit tak ada kan. But how about like Waze for example ataupun Google Maps? Awak follow the instruction, tiba-tiba awak sampai entah ke mana-mana. Ada juga. I got that experience. Okay, I just follow the Google Maps. I use Waze at that point of time. Suddenly it brings me to somewhere which is nowhere, and then suddenly Waze stop reacting, just shut up. Dia macam diam, dia tak tahu apa yang berlaku. Okay, leave me need to think to get up from the maksudnya dia bawa aku satu tempat yang aku pun tak kenal, and then lepas tu dia pun jadi bengong. So I need to find my own way out from that place. Okay, tu pun ada juga. Okay, masa mula-mula dulu, zaman-zaman awal-awal Waze and Google Maps, something like that. Okay, when you let the AI doing both the analysis and the decision. Right. Robotics and unmanned aerial vehicle, UAVs ataupun drones. Okay. Now, before I go further, okay, as we go along, as we go from slide to slide, your job, your job is to think, how can you use all this technology to market your product? How are you going to use all this development to market your service and ideas as a marketer? So memang ada semua ni, AI, drones, you know that. But then how can you use this to your advantage? Can you use all this new technologies to market your product? That is the actual question. That is the real question that you need to ask. Okay, macam mana nak gunakan teknologi-teknologi baru ni untuk sebagai satu peluang untuk memasarkan barangan ataupun servis or your ideas to the masses, to the public, to the consumer. That is the question. Okay, so as we go through from one slide to another, you need to think, okay, on yourself, for yourself, how can you use this for your advantage? Okay, all right. Now, drones, how it can save costs? Okay, maksudnya, how can drones save costs? For example, like Amazon, they're using robotics. They use robots in their warehouse, and it save costs. Okay, save costs by 20%. So, and in California, for example, there's a startup using drones and robot to monitor every inch of construction project and alert managers to potential problems. And then how is this helpful? Because the managers can look at the progress and compare with the original budget and schedule. Okay, so this is how robots, okay, can help human in making decision. Okay, and then 95%, okay, 95% road accident fatalities are caused by human errors. Okay, I think 2 days ago I saw a information from KKM talking about micro sleep while driving. Meaning micro sleeping is not macam awak tidur malam-malam tu, macam awak tidur from 11 to 5 o'clock in the morning tu, kan? Micro sleeping ni when you're driving, sometimes you just for 1 second you sleep for 1 second or 2 seconds, and that's what we call micro sleeping. And 95% of road accident fatalities are caused by human errors. Macam micro sleeping ni lah. Maksudnya awak penat but you are driving, and while driving you suffer from this micro sleeping. For 1 or 2 seconds you sleep, you black out for 1 or 2 seconds, and it can cause accident. Not only accident, can cause fatal accident. Maksudnya boleh menyebabkan kematian. Okay, semasa memandu sebab awak ada this micro sleeping. So if 95% of road accident fatalities are caused by human errors, do you think that self-driven car can solve this problem? What do you think? Kereta yang boleh memandu automatic, pandu sendiri itu, bukan pandu through macam McDonald's tu, tapi ini kereta yang boleh membuat pemanduan sendiri tanpa menggunakan pemandu. Can it prevent road accident fatalities? What do you think? Faridah Hanim, agak boleh ke?
Yes, sir.
Soalan, jawab le.
Oh, yang pasal ni tadi lah, yang self-driving tu
Boleh.
So macam tengok startup yang dekat Netflix tu je.
Tak, soalan saya, boleh ke kereta yang memandu sendiri ni boleh mengurangkan kematian di jalan raya? Itu soalan saya.
Okay, dia macam nak cakap, dia based on the AI tu sendirilah. Kalau macam kereta tu, kalau dia dah develop dengan sistem yang baik, yang boleh macam saya nak cakap, yang boleh elakkan daripada kemalangan, so benda tu boleh dibuat. So dia based on the sistem tu jugalah. So macam sebab nak buat benda tu pun kiranya susah juga nak buat sistem tu, untuk kita tak tahu kan kadar kemalangan tu macam mana. So bagi saya dia macam based on situation juga kot, based on the system orang develop tu sendiri.
Okay, it depends on the development of the system. Okay, and I also agree with you that in Malaysia we have long way to go with this self-driving cars. Okay,
Sir,
sebab dekat Malaysia ni is we very okay. You learn about innovation or innovators consumer, meaning those who who readily accept new technologies, right? Last week kita ada belajar tentang ni, correct? Last week or last 2 weeks we talk about this. What do you think? Okay, in Malaysia, is Malaysian consumer is innovative consumer or we are laggards? Or we are what we call this early or late majorities? What do you think? Amelia Sophia, apa pendapat awak? Consumer di Malaysia ni, are we innovators? Amelia Sophia? Amelia Sophia? Amelia Sophia? Where are you, Amelia Sophia? You're not here. All right. Izzat Daniel, what do you think? Izzat Daniel.
Yes.
Apa pendapat?
Adakah kita ni innovators or not?
Yes.
It depend on the person itself. Rasa kalau dia rasa nak tahu about latest technology, so dia akan akan dapat expose about the latest
In general,
technology
what do
itself.
you think? Malaysian consumer in general.
Malaysian consumer in general, I think almost all innovators rasa. Sebab kalau tak tahu about latest technology akan rasa ketinggalan.
Okay. Now, if we go to the next slide, we talk about some ethics issue. Okay, ethics issue when you use drone as weapon to kill. Okay, maksudnya drone sepatutnya ataupun machine that we come to help humanity. Maksudnya apa-apa jenis machine ataupun artificial intelligence ataupun drones yang kita ada is supposed to enhance our life, to enhance the society, enhance the what they call this the civilization of humanity. But then when you use drone as weapon to kill another human being, this is when there is a what we call ethical issue. Okay, meaning we're using the advancement of the technology to kill humanity itself. So that's an ethical issue. For example, drone being used in the Middle East, for example, to target all those so-called terrorists. Okay, the so-called terrorists. So those are ethical issue. Ethical issue meaning you are using the advancement of technology to kill another human being, not for advancement of the human civilization. So those on ethical issue. All right, go to the next slide. When we talk about, for example, just now, the first of this lecture, I talk about the movie about Terminators, for example, or iRobots, okay, whereby the machine or the robots can think for themselves. I'm sure most of you have watched Terminators, right? Adakah ada siapa yang sini tak pernah tengok Terminator movie?
Saya.
No, I know, awak tak
Saya.
pernah Terminator.
Tak. mean I've heard of it tapi tak pernah tengok betul-betul tengok.
So awaknya assignment lepas ni Nur Ainul Hayat ialah buka
Oh.
YouTube dan menengok Terminators.
Dapat markah saya.
Maka kata basically that is a quite fair question. Bukan dapat markah tak, it's fair question. The fair question about you go and watch Terminator and try to figure out or try to look at the link between Terminator and artificial intelligence. It's quite easy, quite easy to look at the link. Alright, if you watch Terminators,
I know the plot of it. Tapi tak pernah tengok
yes,
Macam the general idea of the movie tu tahu lah.
So basically that movie it triggered the question. Triggered the question like, can robot, can we use robot, or when we invented robot or the machine that can think for themselves, can those machine or robots go against humanity? Meaning to say bila dia dah boleh berfikir sendiri, alright, when they can think for themselves, can they go against their master, meaning their creator, orang yang mencipta mesin ataupun robot tu. Like macam cerita Terminator ni, I give you the synopsis Nur Ainul Hayat. Terminator ni sebenarnya behind those robots killing machine, there's a system called Skynet, I think Skynet, which thinks, or this AI, the system think that the main objective of this machine is to protect humanity, to protect Earth, alright? But when this machine can think for themselves, they say that it is humanity who is a danger for this world. For example, like we are polluting this world, you know that, right? We at war with each other, you know that. So humanity now, according to this Skynet, when he can think that humanity is the one who is endangered, who is a danger to this world. So they make a decision to wipe up all these human from this world when they can think, right? So that's how they launch the nuclear war against human. They build all this war machine to kill human, you know that. So that's AI. That's AI, artificial intelligence, when machine can think for themselves. So this guy, Isaac Asimov, he's an author. He come up with this law of robotics. This law of robotics says that robot must never harm or kill human, and always obey orders from their creator. And then robot must protect their own existence unless doing so would cause harm to human. So this is according to Isaac Asimov. So according to Asimov, saying that if he wanted to create a machine that can think for themselves, you need to give some sort like a rule, macam undang-undang. Undang-undang saying that you can learn, but you need to protect, or you cannot harm other human being. So you need to tell that to that machine, according to Asimov. See, this is a law of robotics. So it is very interesting. Ainul Hayat. So after this class, ataupun during this class pun, awak bolehlah Google cerita Terminator tu. You can watch that Terminators. It's very interesting. Dan Terminator ada banyak version atau banyak siri. Then maybe you can go to the latest one. Better. Alright. Any questions? Any other questions about this at this stage tentang AI and also drones? Ada soalan tak?
Ada 5 movie je.
Movie? Ada 5 movie? Okay. Good news is next week kita tak ada kelas. So awak boleh masa ni Khamis pukul 12 awak boleh tengok movie. On weekend ni pun boleh tengok movie marathon. Boleh tengok movie terus. In fact, macam saya kata, this movie tu macam senang lah soalan saya, how to what is the relationship between Terminator and artificial intelligence? It's a very easy question. Okay, awak tengok movie tu awak dah dapat jawapan lah. When I was a law student last time, okay, my first degree is law. At that point of time, dia ada cerita Matrix. Are you familiar with Matrix? The trilogy, the Matrix trilogy, Matrix 1, 2 and 3. Siapa pernah tengok Matrix? Keanu Reeves.
Saya familiar tapi tak pernah tengok.
Tak pernah tengok, right. It's alright. Ini apa sebab tak tengok movie? Okay.
Ayat jangan tipu ayat.
Okay. But okay, Keanu Reeves. Maybe you have seen Keanu Reeves dalam cerita John Wick and all that. But before John Wick, you have this Matrix trilogy. So after this, siapa nak tengok boleh tengok movie. Okay, you go and watch Matrix. The Matrix trilogy, part 1, 2 and 3. And my lecturer asked me this question. Okay, in this we went not during lecture, okay, but during tutorials. Tutorials, because during tutorial you need to answer question. Lecture awak just dengar, but tutorial you need to answer question. She asked me this question, or she asked the class this question: what is the connection between the Matrix movie and the constitutional law? Alright, so it's a very tough question. Apa kena-mengena cerita Matrix dengan perlembagaan atau konsep perlembagaan negara? So this is lagi tough question. Macam question yang saya bagi tahu awak ni agak senang. What is the relationship between artificial intelligence and the movie Terminator movie? Itu senang je question tu. Okay, tengok pun dah tahu. Tapi apa kaitan di antara Matrix and constitutional law ataupun undang-undang perlembagaan is very tough question. Memerlukan pemikiran yang agak dalam. But it's a very good movie, that Matrix. Okay, Matrix trilogy 1, 2 and 3. It makes you think. Okay, that movie. Alright. Ada soalan lain sebelum kita pergi pada virtual VR and AR? Any question? Apa movie lagi nak tengok? Ada apa-apa lagi soalan tentang movie yang patut awak tengok sebelum exam, final exam? Tak ada.
Masa exam masa.
Well, dia bukan masuk exam, tapi dia macam memberikan latihan kepada pemikiran awak untuk berfikir untuk exam. Why? Because my exam question, it requires you to think. It requires a very quiet mind, a very what do you call this, pemikiran yang agak kritis, okay, for the question. So bila awak tengok soalan exam tu, awak jangan tergopoh gapah untuk menjawab soalan-soalan tersebut. Take a deep breath, right, and then baru jawab soalan. Why? Because you need to be in a very serene state. Okay, you need the serenity to answer the question. Okay, dalam keadaan yang tenang. Jangan tergopoh gapah. So one way of relaxing your mind, but exercising your mind at the same time is watching movies. How's that? Meaning when you watch movies, you think, how can this movie, or what's the relation of this movie and consumer behavior, for example? And that is something how you relax your mind and massage your mind at the same time. Maksudnya satu cara untuk awak menenangkan otak awak, tapi sambil-sambil tu dia massage, maksud dia exercise your mind. So it's watching movie. Okay, because your mind is part of your body muscle. The same as the other muscle of your body, you need exercises to make that muscle strong. So kalau awak tak sama juga dengan otak, kalau awak tak massage dia, awak tak exercise dia, dia akan jadi lemah. So that is one tips for your exam. Okay, watch movie. Right.
Baik.
VR and AR. Okay, VR and AR. So how can we use this for our advantage? So what is augmented reality? What is augmented?
Augmented reality ni dia buat seperti barang tu muncul depan kita tapi tak ada pun.
Apa beza dengan VR?
VR is virtual reality. Dia like dia buang terus the real world.
Then you become
Augmented
in a different world, is it?
yeah, dia fully immerse dalam different world terus. Kalau AR dia macam campur the two elements, virtual and reality. Yeah.
So actually, just looking at the words, you will know what is AR and VR, because the word augmented means
Dibuat-buat.
something been augmented to something, meaning you have one item, then you augmented that with something. Awak tambahkan kepada barang yang asal. So that's the meaning of augmented. Virtual means like this, virtual class. So maksudnya awak berada dalam kelas yang kelas yang berbeza. Okay, that is virtual. I don't, but I'm sorry, this Microsoft Teams doesn't fit VR, doesn't fit virtual reality. It's just a matter of communication only. So kalau VR is something like tiba-tiba awak berada dalam satu kelas yang dalam dunia yang berbeza, dan awak dah berada dalam kelas, tapi kelas tu dalam bentuk virtual. Okay, augmented ialah for example like mungkin awak nampak saya sekarang, tapi mungkin awak nampak ada macam raksasa di belakang saya. So that the meaning of augmented. Okay, meaning you add on something to the reality. Okay, yang you see me right now is the reality, but you augmented something. Maksudnya mungkin letakkan raksasa di belakang, Godzilla at the behind, alright?
Pokemon.
So Pokemon ke apa ke, those are augmented. Okay, so you look at augmented. Okay, those are the panjang-panjang tu, or those that one is what we call augmented, meaning AR is an interactive experience of a real world environment whereby the object that reside in the real world are augmented. So this sentence, this mouthful sentence is the definition of AR. Okay, try to explain AR. But if you wanted to understand AR, you just look at Pokemon Go. Okay, you look at Pokemon Go. This Pokemon Go is one of the example of AR, augmented reality. Why Pokemon Go is AR? Who can answer me this question? Siapa pernah main Pokemon Go?
Ashraf.
Ashraf.
No,
Betul.
really. It's Hayat also.
Siapa yang lain tak pernah main Pokemon Go?
Macam mana sah?
Yang lain tak pernah main Pokemon Go ke?
Tak pernah main tapi tahu
Tahulah apa Pokemon Go, right? So this is Pokemon Go tu is like macam awak berjalan-jalan di YS tu for example, then suddenly awak dapat signal bahawa mungkin dekat belakang Subaidah tu ada satu Pokemon yang awak boleh tangkap. So you go to belakang YS dan pergi tangkap seekor raksasa Pokemon tu. And then awak jalan lagi, awak dapat mungkin dekat kedai Kak Liza ada seekor lagi raksasa. Tapi kalau awak tengok dengan mata kasar, from your naked eyes, you won't see that monster, you won't see that Pokemon monster. But when you use the apps, you use the software, then you see that dekat kedai Kak Liza tu, sebelah Kak Liza tu ada satu Pokemon yang awak kena tangkap. Tapi kalau awak nampak dengan mata kasar, your naked eyes, you won't see that Pokemon monster. But if you use the apps, or you use the software or the games, you can see there's a Pokemon monster beside Kak Liza. So that what we call Pokemon Go. Now, why this Pokemon Go is very good for marketing? Why Pokemon Go is very good for marketing? How can you use Pokemon Go as a marketing tool?
Dalam Pokemon Go kena pergi ke specific tempat untuk like get a specific item ataupun specific Pokemon. So orang yang main Pokemon Go akan pergi ke tempat tu, contoh shopping mall banyak Pokestop, so orang akan pergi lah shopping mall, specific shopping mall.
Not only
Yes,
specific shopping mall, kat mana? Mungkin dia letak that Pokemon monster at a specific store, correct?
Yeah.
So let's say
Yes.
dia letak Pokemon tu, dia kata ada dekat dalam Uniqlo. So you need to go inside that Uniqlo to tangkap that, nak tangkap seko of the monster. So while you are there, while you are inside the Uniqlo, dah tangkap seko monster, so mungkin there's a high possibility or high probability that you may take the opportunity to shop in Uniqlo as well, correct? Or kalau sebelum tu you do not know what is Uniqlo, for example. So by going to Uniqlo to capture one of the Pokemon monster, suddenly you are exposed to Uniqlo. So that's Uniqlo. Just think about other brands or other shops. You can use these games, okay, games like Pokemon Go, to get people to go to your shops, to go to your premise. Okay, so but the first idea is for the person to achieve whatever objective of the games, but the idea is to bring in the consumer or that gamers to your premise. So dia macam satu untuk pendedahan ataupun satu awak nak menarik orang untuk pergi ke kedai awak. That is how you use Pokemon Go or any other similar games to your advantage as marketers. So as a marketer, social media is not the holy grail of marketing. Okay, there's so many other ways that you can use or trick consumer to go to your shop or to expose or to communicate your product to the consumer. Okay, social media is not the holy grail of marketing. What is a holy grail? Anyone heard about Holy Grail before?
Yes, sir.
What is a Holy Grail?
Holy Grail is like the cream of the crop. It's like
Okay, what's the history of Holy Grail?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think it's a Catholic, it's a Christian thing.
Anyone can tell me what's the Holy Grail? Guys. Nur Idina.
Yes, sir.
Boleh terangkan pada saya apa yang awak tahu tentang Holy Grail? Sebab you hear me when I talk about social media is not the Holy Grail of marketing, for example. It's just like the way I'm saying things, the way I'm expressing my message to you. But Holy Grail itu apa? Nur Idina? Nur Idina?
Yes, sir.
Holy Grail itu apa? Soalan. Apa dia Holy Grail?
Sir nak cuba boleh?
Boleh, no problem.
Dia something yang kita nak sangat tapi susah nak dapat.
Yes, you're right. Okay, you're right. Meaning something that you is Holy Grail is something like the solution to all your problem. Okay, so a little bit of history of this Holy Grail. You guys familiar with the Last Supper? The Last Supper. The Last Supper.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Have you seen the painting of the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci?
Saya pernah.
It shows what? It shows the Last Supper ni dia pasal Jesus dia makan dengan sahabat-sahabat dia malam sebelum besok tu konon-kononnya dia ditangkap oleh askar Rom dan disalib. Okey, malam tu dipanggil yang dia makan bersama kawan-kawan dia tu dia dipanggil the Last Supper. So masa dia dah having that Last Supper, dia minum wine dalam satu cup. Okay, dalam satu cup, then that cup was we call the Christian call it the Holy Grail. So the Christian believe that the Holy Grail is so sacred, a relic which is so sacred that it can solve a lot of problem. Maksudnya kalau dia believe that if you drink water yang diletakkan dalam cup tu, mungkin awak hidup balik ataupun awak jadi sihat, you know that. And this cup, this Holy Grail, being the subject of the reason of why the Crusades ataupun askar salib menyerang Baitul Maqdis. Maksudnya ada perang salib dulu disebabkan itu untuk mencari the Holy Grail. Masalahnya they don't find that Holy Grail. Maksudnya sampai sekarang tak jumpa lagi Holy Grail tu. Okay, so meaning to say the Holy Grail is the solution of all your problems. So sampai sekarang dia mencari-cari Holy Grail tu untuk menyelesaikan masalah dunia ni. So when I say something about social media is not the Holy Grail of marketing. Maksud saya, what I meant was social media is not the solution to all your marketing problems. Maksudnya if you wanted to market your product, social media is not the only thing that can be used to market your product or service. Okay, so that is a matter of speaking. Itu maksudnya cara your tone of language. Maksudnya cara awak bercakap. Why? Because as a marketer, the way you speak is very important because you wanted to express your ideas across to your audience, right? So you need to be able to grasp that language ataupun cara bercakap. Your language tu kena very colourful. You need to be full of emotions, full of colours. Okay, tak ada awak monotonous. Okay, bila awak bercakap tak monotonous, maksudnya dalam satu tone sahaja. So it doesn't you do not have the body, you don't have the colours in your language. That's why when I read your assignment, I know that assignment is not yours. Why? Because of the language. The language is so different. Bila bercakap, cara awak bercakap lain, but then when awak menulis, awaknya tulisan language, your written language is so different from how you speak. So I know that this is something wrong. Okay, you must have getting this from somewhere. Okay, so there's one way of lecturers, okay, menangkap student-student yang meniru, yang mengambil copy from someone else. Why? Because your written answer, the standard is so colourful, unlike the way you speak. Okay, that's one way. Okay, ada soalan tak? Ada soalan lain tak? Tak ada. Kalau tak ada, kita go to the next slide. This Pokemon Go has been downloaded for 500 million times. 500 million times been downloaded. And it generate 1.8 billion in revenue. Okay, so kalau awak nak kaya, then you come up with this similar games macam Pokemon Go. 1.8 billion in revenue. And 5 million active users a day. Okay, why 5 million active users a day is very important because it helps you to expose your product or service to 5 million active users a day. So this is your market. This is your potential consumer. This is your potential market. Maksudnya 5 juta orang, 5 juta pengguna yang aktif setiap hari bermain Pokemon Go. So you got 5 million market here. Right. By 2020, you will have 100 million consumer shopping using augmented reality. This is by Gartner in 2016. So dia kata, Gartner ni kata, by tahun 2020, akan ada 100 juta orang consumer atau pengguna yang akan menggunakan atau membeli menggunakan augmented reality by 2020. Okay. Then it is true. Why? Because you look at Lazada. Okay, Lazada, they already come up with this augmented reality system or augmented reality technology. For example, you have a fashion mirror. A fashion mirror means you do not have to go to the changing room. Maksudnya, if you wanted to buy a dress, you wanted to look at how the dress look on you, whether it suits you or not, whether the color suits your skin tone, you know that. You don't have to go and try in the changing room. Okay, meaning you just using this fashion mirror, and then this fashion mirror will use the augmented reality technology, and it will come up with it will show you wearing that dress. Okay, without you having to go to the changing room and wear the dress yourself. This is fashion mirror using augmented reality, now being used now. Okay, the technology is already here. It's not something which is science fiction. It's already here. Makeup as well, meaning you can use this augmented reality technology to make up your face without putting up the makeup physically. That mirror will show you how your face look like when you use the makeup. This is augmented reality technology already here, already been used by Lazada in Malaysia. Okay. So when we talk about augmented reality, when we talk about virtual reality, we are no longer talking about science fiction. We are no longer talking about the future. We are talking about now. Okay, the technology is already here. Okay, it's either you embrace that technology or you become laggards. You do not want to use technology, it's up to you. Okay, but then the technology is already here for the taking. All right. Right, the Internet of Things. What is the IoT? The IoT. IoT is let me give you one simple example or simple definition of IoT, whereby all the machines talking to each other. Okay, for example, like what we have right now. Okay, what we have right now or previously, the machines are independent. They're not talking to each other. For example, like my television, my laptop, and my, let's say, my aircon, for example. They are working independently. They're not talking to each other. Okay. And my, let's say, my fridge, for example, I put another my fridge, my freezer. They don't talk to each other. They just working independently. But IoT means all these physical devices, are talking to each other. For example, like let's say, okay, I was away, okay, I was outside. I'm driving, going towards my house. So my smartphone have a GPS tracker. So my phone detect that I'm going towards my house. So my phone will tell what do you call this, my air conditioner machine at my house to start running 20 minutes before I reach my house. Why? Because the moment I open the door, the house be cooler. Okay, be cool. So saya tak perlu lagi buka aircon. Bila balik panas, buka aircon, tunggu lagi sejam 2 jam baru nak sejuk. Saya sampai rumah dah terus sejuk. Why? Because my smartphone is talking to my um, air conditioner. Kata Syarin dah nak balik, dah nak sampai rumah. Kau on sekarang. Basically like that. Or my refrigerator can detect that mungkin susu, telur ataupun sayur-sayur mungkin dah nak habis. So that the refrigerator akan give me can tell my smartphone that okay, barang-barang ni dah nak habis. So my smartphone will go and automatic go and buy those things, pergi beli online barang-barang ni. Dah suruh hantar ke rumah. And that is how machines talking to each other. This is what we call IoT. And if you think this is science fiction, okay, it is already here. Okay, in 2016, Barcelona already do this. Okay, dia dah gunakan IoT. And then next slide, your Apple Watch. Okay, your Apple Watch can connect you to emergency service. Okay, like for example, let's say awak jatuh dan pingsan. Your iWatch, okay, your iWatch will tell can tell that the wearer, maksudnya awak dah pingsan, terjatuh di mana-mana dah pingsan, right? And this iWatch can call the nearest hospital. Alright, can call the nearest hospital, tell that this person dekat tempat mana-mana dah pingsan, so sila hantar ambulance. So this is not science fiction. It is here. Okay, the technology is here already. I'm not talking about macam cerita dalam movie yang benda tu akan berlaku tahun 2035. It's here now. Okay, it's here now. Alright, for example like iWatch, Apple Watch, already have that information, already have that capabilities. Then how do you use this for marketing? With that question, can I take 5 minutes? Can we take
Yes,
5 minutes
sir.
break? Can, yeah?
Can, sir.
So we meet again around 1:25. Can we? Boleh tak?
Boleh, sir.
Okay, 1:25, yeah. We meet again 1:25. But 1:25, come back with the answer. How can we use this AI or how can we use this IoT for marketing? All right. I see you at 1:25.
All right, sir.
Alright guys, welcome back. Now about my question. About my questions now. How can we use this IoT for marketing? Macam mana kita boleh gunakan IoT ni untuk sebagai kita punya marketing promotion? How? Bagaimana? Aimi Nur Ain. Aimi Nur Ain. Aimi Nur Ain. Aimi Nur Ain. You there? Nur Idina.
Yes, sir.
Nur Idina. How about my question just now?
Guna QR code
QR code. Okay.
untuk payment.
Payment. But is QR code is IoT, Internet of Things.
Tak.
Apa contoh IoT, for example? Internet of Things.
Dia macam yang pop up message yang orang tinggalkan feedback semua tu sebab untuk kita tahu dia punya, untuk kita tahu customer punya needs and all that.
Okay, Internet of Things is where the concept of IoT is when two or more machines are talking to each other. Maksudnya, for example, like your smartphone, laptop and your refrigerator talking to each other. For example, they are communicating with each other. For example, like in a factory, for example. Okay, in a factory, you know that a factory need to manufacture a product from a raw material. So you need raw materials to produce the end product. Okay, so then you have in the factory you have this what do you call this assembly line, correct? Bayangkan macam nak buat kereta, for example. Okay, kereta daripada assembly line daripada A sampai habis. Okay, maksudnya A dia bagi rangka, and then dia letak body, and then dia letak screw, and then dia letak tire, and then the pin, the apa tu semua, and then baru keluar kereta tu. That is right. So if you have an IoT technology, okay, information Internet of Things technology, all this machine all the assembly line talks to each other. And also, not only the assembly line, the machine will also talk about to the inventory system. Why? Because the moment you wanted to produce a car, one car for example, you need a lot of parts. Maksudnya ada bahagian-bahagian yang awak perlu cantumkan bersama-sama, right, untuk menghasilkan sebuah kereta, betul? So all these parts is your raw material. So you need what? Inventory. So kalau all this machine talk to each other, they also can talk to inventory, the system which control inventory. So this system or this machine will tell the inventory system that, look, satu kereta dah keluar. So maksudnya barang ni dah kurang satu. So pergi beli barang ni dekat vendor. So all this conversation is not human are talking. All these are machines are talking. Machines are talking to each other. They're giving signal to each other. Okay, they are communicating with each other. The machines are talking with each other, not human. There's no human intervention. So when I talk about IoT, I'm talking about the machine the one who talking to each other. So the question is, how can you use IoT technology in marketing? your product and service. Macam mana? And these are the things that you need to think of. Okay, no, Idina, QR code is not IoT. QR code is just the basic technology that we have right now. Maksudnya, it's not something which is advanced pun. Dia macam basic that you need to know. But IoT is when the machine are talking to each other. Okay, your smartphone is talking to your fridge. Okay, in their own language. That's IoT. Maybe you can imagine, like, have you heard about Nike Plus? Anyone heard about Nike Plus before? What is Nike Plus?
It's an app for tracking your fitness movements.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Nike Plus is an app to track your activities, for example. And it can also connect with the chip, okay, the chip in your shoes, Nike shoes. Okay, Nike shoes, let's say now you have iPhone, you have the iWatch, okay, iWatch, Apple Watch. Then you have a Nike shoe. So you download this Nike Plus app and you connect with your shoes. Okay, so whatever, when you use that shoe, okay, when you use that shoes, that Nike shoes which connected to this Nike Plus, the chip inside the shoe will send all the signal, all the information to the apps. Meaning it will give you the data like how many times you use this shoe for walking, for running. What is the kekerapan? What is the how many times that you use this shoe? Okay, and then lepas tu kalau awak dah buang, awak dah tak pakai kasut tu, awak dah buang. So this information will be sent to your Nike Plus apps. So with this information, Nike will be able to tell what are the activities of this person, of this consumer, his lifestyle, how many times he goes for running, how many times that he goes walking, and how long did he use that shoe. Maksudnya kasut tu dia guna berapa lama, mungkin setahun 2 tahun, lepas tu dia buang. So dia tahu jangka hayat, the life, the product cycle of the shoe. So all this is a very information to the marketers on designing on the shoes. Okay, kasut ni tahan for berapa lama? 2 tahun, for example. And then the maybe the designer or the marketer need to design the shoe for 2 years, that can tahan for 2 years. And then not only 2 years, that running shoes will be used, let's say 5 days a week. Okay, that person is using that running shoes for 5 days a week. So when he use that 5 days a week, it can tahan, it can hold until 2 years before the product cycle ends. Okay, so when you design the shoe, okay, you design that Nike shoes based on this data, then you know that this shoe must be able to withstand running 5 days a week for 2 years. Those are what we call IoT. This is how IoT, the simple example on how IoT can help marketers in designing the product. So these are the things that you need to know. Okay, to know how the technology can help you, you must know what is the technology is. Meaning you need to understand that technology. So that is the objective of this topic. Meaning I need to give you some exposure on the current technology, and you must be able to take it up from here. Meaning you must be able to, after you've been exposed to this technology, you must be able to read further. You must be able to do further research, and you must be able to understand about the technology. But the most important thing is, how are you going to use this technology to your advantage in doing your marketing campaign? Itu yang sebenarnya yang saya nak. Jadi, I'm not, this is, but just like I said just now, this technology is not something which is futuristic. This is not something which is science fiction. It's already here. Okay, it's already here. So you need to, kalau awak tak pernah dengar all these things, ataupun before this you think that you heard about IoT, you heard about AI, but you don't really know what is AI. You not really know what is big data. You don't really know what is blockchain. Then you need to speed up your knowledge. You need to double up on your readings on these technologies. Okay, now next is mobile. Okay, mobile is straightforward, yeah, straightforward, because this is something, mobile technology is something which all of us are familiar with. But the question is how you personalize the experience, okay, in mobile commerce, okay, or mobile experience. For example, in September 2019, according to Hotsuite, okay, Hotsuite is independent, or what do you call this, think tank, okay, it talks about technology. It says that in Malaysia in 2019, September 2019, 62% purchase made online via mobile phone. Okay, meaning according to this research by Hotsuite in Malaysia, in September up until 2019, 62% of Malaysian using mobile phone to make an online purchase. 62% of Malaysian, okay, and 37% made an online purchase via laptop or desktop computer. 91% search online for a product or service to buy. For example, that they wanted to buy something, so they search about the product online first. They wanted to know about the product, then they get the information online before they make the purchase, either online or offline. But 62% make the online purchase via mobile phone. Now, why is this information so vital? Kenapa kita kena tahu kat mana pengguna membuat carian tentang barang tersebut, kat mana, bagaimana pengguna membuat pembayaran, online ke atau offline, dan kalau online, kenapa kita kena tahu bahawa kebanyakan pengguna menggunakan mobile phone untuk membuat pembayaran? Kenapa fakta-fakta ini ataupun data-data ini penting? Why is this data vital to us as marketers? Putri Nurjana, kenapa? Putri Nurjana? Putri Nurjana? Siti Nur Syazwani?
Yes, sir.
Kenapa fakta ni penting bagi kita sebagai marketers?
To analyze our customer behavior. I mean macam customer wants.
Subjek kita hari ni tentang consumer behavior. The whole topic. Biar topik yang kita belajar ni consumer behavior, betul, memang betul lah. Tapi kenapa fakta-fakta ni kat mana orang membuat pembayaran, kat mana orang mencari information, tu penting bagi kita sebagai marketers. Kalau awak tahu 62% of rakyat Malaysia ni membeli barang online melalui mobile telefon. Apa kepentingannya fakta ni? Kenapa benda ni penting? Kenapa fakta ni penting untuk awak tahu?
They can focus on their target market.
Pada mi Izzat. Can you speak up Izzat? Tak dengar. Hujan tak dengar. You need to speak up. Awak kuat sikit.
So kata ni kenapa penting dia orang beli barang dekat okay. So they can focus on their target market as much as they can.
Fokus kepada
Target market.
Target
as
market.
As much as they can.
As much as we can. Okay. Tapi kenapa apa pentingnya fakta orang beli barang melalui mobile phone tu dengan target market ni?
Apa fakta? Macam mana?
Saya nak cuba boleh tak?
Pardon me?
Saya nak cuba boleh tak?
Boleh. Faridah ni awak boleh mencuba, ya.
Okey, dia macam bagi pendapat saya lah, dia ada beberapa faktor. Macam kalau macam based on the percentage tu, kalau macam kita buat ads atau ads based on Facebook ads ataupun Instagram ads, dekat situ kita boleh narrow down tau. Kita boleh narrow down, kita nak advertisekan kita punya promotion atau marketing tu based on desktop ataupun based on dekat mobile phone. So kalau macam benda tu pun boleh, ads tu pun dia akan macam cut kita punya cost of promotion tau. So kalau macam kita pilih satu platform untuk mobile, dia akan kirakan cost untuk mobile saja. Kalau macam kita guna desktop, dia akan kira cost untuk desktop. So benda tu kita akan tahu based on mana satu platform yang boleh bawa generate kita punya company sales lah based on ads tu. Tu saya punya pendapat satu lah. Yang kedua pula, kalau macam daripada segi percentage tu, setiap business dia dapat tahu dia punya opportunity kalau macam dia antara kompetitor. So kalau macam dia orang develop untuk mobile apps untuk shopping. So kalau macam dia tahu ada dia orang punya sistem ni tak friendly user, so dia orang boleh develop untuk lagi easy, lagi friendly untuk customer tu guna, sebab dia orang tahulah based on percentage ni ramai consumer yang sukakan mobile apps yang friendly user and efficient macam tu.
So, okay, this is okay, thanks Faridah Hanim. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say because we have facts. Kita ada fakta, banyak fakta, right? But then we got numbers. But the journey, meaning our job is not only to look at numbers. Our job as marketer to interpret the numbers, meaning to give meaning to numbers. If we know that 62% of Malaysian made online purchase via mobile phone and not through laptop. So as Faridah Hanim said just now, we should focus on, if it's relevant to our product or service, we should focus on mobile apps. So if people or consumer can use mobile apps to look for our product or service, and they can make purchase straight away through mobile phone, then this is where we give the consumer experience. Okay, the consumer experience to our customer. Meaning, remember just now when I said that at the early of this lecture, when I talk about 85% of customer experience will not involve human interaction. And these are the thing, okay, whereby you know that by 2020, 85% of transactions which involve brand experience, consumer experience, will not involve human interactions. This is mobile app is one of the example, whereby when you wanted to look for goods, you look in the apps. You wanted to make payment, you pay through the apps. Is there any human interaction involved? Ada tak tiba-tiba ada seorang muncul, awak nak bertanya nak beli barang apa? Tak ada kan? It's all through the apps. It's all through the system. There's no human interaction at all. But still, you can give that human ataupun you can give the consumer experience. Like Farida Hanim said that make it very user-friendly. The word user-friendly is, in other way, you are saying that you are giving what? You're giving the consumer experience, a good consumer experience. For example, kalau awak punya apps tu susah sangat nak guna, is not a user-friendly, then you do not give a good consumer experience to your consumer, to your customers. Okay, so this is what I meant by when we talk first just now, when we talk about 85% of customer experience will not involve human interactions at the start of this lecture. Okay, so this when we talk about the technologies just now, okay, that IoT lah, we talks about AI lah, you know that. You try to use this technology to give consumer experience without the human interactions. Remember my question, my earliest question just now at the early of this lecture. Bagaimana awak nak memberikan satu pengalaman yang baik kepada pelanggan awak tanpa campur tangan manusia? How can you give consumer experience without human interactions? This is all the answers to that question. Faham tak? Muhammad Amin Rafiq, faham?
Faham.
Okay, good, cool. Alright, then go to the next slide. Okay, why it is important we know where and how. Okay, saya dah tanya soalan ni tadi. Okay, why it is important for us to know the numbers just now. Okay, the percentage. Then big data and analytics. This is very important. Okay, big data and analytics. So what is the meaning of big data? You heard about big data before. So what is big data? Data besar, which is correct. Okay, big data means extremely large data sets that may be analyzed computationally to reveal patterns, trends, and association, especially relating to human behavior and interactions. Now here we are, okay, learning about human behavior. All right, this subject is human consumer behavior. Here we are, we're learning about consumer behavior, but yet you will have this big data that able to analyze human behavior and interactions. How? By looking at the pattern. Bagaimana dengan melihat kepada corak, okay, corak kelakuan pengguna itu. Okay, this is big data. Okay, so how this big data? Big data ni dia combination of big data and it is able to digest and able to analyze a lot of data within 1 second or 2 seconds. Okay, so this is what we call big data. And when we talk about big data, okay, we are unable to divorce ourselves from talking about blockchains. Okay, you look at the next slide, you will see what blockchains is. So what is blockchains? Siapa pernah dengar tentang blockchains?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoins, yeah, Bitcoins. Now, why they call it blockchains? Kenapa dia panggil blockchain? Okay, blockchain ni apa? Blockchain ni actually is like data. Okay, so before you understand blockchains, you need to understand data. So a database, maksudnya if you understand database, then it's easier for you to understand blockchains. Because blockchains is like a database. But the only difference is that data in blockchains are in blocks. Okay, accumulated in blocks. 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, and millions of or trillions of blocks. And it was chained together. Okay, it was all these blocks of data are chained together. Dia dirantai bersama-sama. Blok-blok data ini dirantai bersama. So that's why they call it blockchains. Okay, blockchains. Okay, now 82%. Okay, 82% says that to know about consumer behavior, you use all this big data, you use all these blockchains to decipher about consumer behavior, about the behavior of the consumer. Why? Because you wanted to forecast and look at the trend of the consumer behavior. Now, we learn about complaints. Okay, we learn about complaints in the first part of the lecture last week. And we learn about how to handle consumer complaint. But the question is, how do you use big data? How do you use blockchains in handling customers' complaint? So that is the question. Okay, that is the question. So, but then I do not want to answer that question yet. I leave it to you to think for the answers. Okay, for you to lepas kelas ni mungkin awak sambil-sambil tengok cerita atau tengok movie Matrix 1 to 3 dan juga Terminator 1 to 3 sampai 5. Fikirkan bagaimana big data and blockchains can help you to handle consumer complaint. Okay, and how can you use big data and blockchains to enhance your product and service? That is the question that you need to think for yourself. Okay, I leave you guys with that question. Okay, this is our last class. Okay, this is our last class. We have finished our objective we have covered all the topics that we need to cover for this semester. But I will see you again for your presentation. Okay, your presentation in week 13, I think. Betul? Week 13. Correct, right? Minggu ke-13 ialah sekejap. This one 10, 11, 12, 13, which is the 31st of December. Thursday, 31st of December. It is week 13, correct or not? Betul kah? So we're going to meet again on the 31st of December for your presentation, your group presentation. Okay, just put the date there. And then our revision. Okay, our revision is on the 7th. Okay, on the 7th is our revision. 7th of January 2021 is our revision. So tolong letak dalam awaknya diary ataupun awaknya calendar. Okay, 31st is your presentation, and then 7 is your revision week. Okay, ada soalan tak? Ada soalan? Tak ada.
So, even
Yeah.
though we got no class for the 2 weeks, for the upcoming 2 weeks, can we consult you from time to time whenever?
Yes. Can. So you just contact me during office hour. Okay. Janganlah contact saya selepas office hour, weekends and public holidays ya. I need my rest as well, or I need to do my own things. Alright. Yes, you can text me for consultation. We can also have this maksudnya face to face through Teams. You just tell me bila awak nak buat, then I just open this link, and then so we can have Teams consultation ataupun through WhatsApp. Tapi kalau WhatsApp, WhatsApp for consultation, WhatsApp is a bit of hassle sebab I need to type a lot of things. Kadang-kadang you know me, when I talk, I intend to talk a lot. So for me to WhatsApp, benda yang simple-simple boleh lah. Tapi kalau perlukan penjelasan yang agak panjang, maybe we should have Teams. Bukan maksudnya semua orang kena datang. Maksudnya kalau seorang nak this team session pun saya akan layan. Tak ada masalah. Okay? Not sure? No problem ya. Kalau awak nak consultation, no problem.
Alright, sir.
Okay?
Thank you.
Emilia Sofia.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kenapa? Is that your face, Emilia Sofia? Tu muka awak ke? Mona Lisa yang mata lebam tu muka awak ke? Bukan ya?
Lebih kurang saya.
Lebih kurang tu. Okay. This is what we call derivative work. Okay. Okay, kalau tak ada soalan lagi, so I meet you on 31st of December. Okay?
Apa-apa boleh tanya kat dalam
Okay,
group WhatsApp kan?
Dalam WhatsApp group pun boleh. Dalam team, you know that. Tapi kalau nak kalau nak tanya through WhatsApp, saya prefer dalam WhatsApp group supaya bila semua orang boleh dapatkan soalan awak tu dan semua orang boleh dapatkan jawapan. Saya tak perlu lagi nak, mungkin kadang jawab soalan awak tu ada orang lain pun tanya soalan yang sama. So kalau saya jawab, so orang lain pun dapat jawapan yang sama, jadi tak perlu saya nak jawab 2-3 kali. That's one way. Secondly, kalau awak nak tanya through Teams pun boleh, tak ada masalah. Alright. So kalau tak ada soalan, so we meet on the 31st.